All right, guys, welcome back. So I think we've alluded to this enough times that while we were in San Diego, it's Carlsbad, to check out the new Titleist irons, there was a little impromptu intervention from the Titleist team because the feeling was that I wasn't driving it particularly well. And I probably echoed that, to be honest. I've been struggling a little bit more with the driver this year. My Arcos data, Mikey, tells me that I'm losing, based on where my current handicap is, I'm losing about 1 stroke, and versus my target handicap, I'm losing over 2 strokes, 2.2 strokes on my Arcos data page. Now, driving about 2.5 years ago was a real strength for me. It was something every time I played, I was gaining 2-3 shots on sort of my handicap range. And we preach so much to you guys the importance of driving and why you need a driver that's kind of working for you. You've got to certainly start the hole well and finish the hole well with the driver and the putter, and obviously try and take your chances when they present themselves in between with the iron shots. But the driver for me in this modern game is a must perform. Now, that doesn't have to mean you're the longest driver in your group, or it can be accuracy, it can be you're able to shape it, with the hole whenever you need to. But the driver has to be a strength and not a weakness, in my opinion. So we done a little bit of testing. We found a driver that was performing really, really well down there, and it is now here with us at TXG HQ. We have a TSr4.
Yeah. Before the TSr4, though, you did have a Mini, the burner Mini, or the burner driver, and it was a little shorter, a little smaller.
Yep.
You were fortunate to have me caddy for you in a couple of your events.
Exceptionally fortunate.
And you hit it unreal.
Yeah, I mean,
like you said, accuracy, you didn't miss.
I didn't miss them. I felt like I put a bunch of bad swings on them that, was kind of like you're playing in a group with people who've never seen you play before, and, good shot, and, I'm kind of know, like, I missed it, killed it, whatever. But the result was very playable on the golf course, which for me is going to set me up for my strength, which is generally the second shots. So the driver is very, very important to everyone, but, I look at it within my own game as the thing that kind of makes or breaks the day.
Totally.
So we're going to test it now. We've got it back. We've got the built product. It is far from a conventional build, Mikey. Standard procedure in here. We have the green weight. We have the blue weight. Colors. Well, I'm okay. As long as there's a little bit of contrast. We've got the blue at the back. Clearly, the more important weight is the blue one. The secondary weight is the green one. That's how I like it to be. The blue one being primary and the green being secondary. So we've got plus 4 grams in the back, minus 4 grams at the front. Okay. Actually, in the fit, it was the other way around. Right. But I have found that since hitting it a little bit more, I was knuckling it a little bit too much. So I've flipped the weights, and this is what they're calling a TSR 3.5. Yeah. So it's kind of like the mini or the smaller head profile with the higher MOI. Actually, a very similar MOI to TSR 3. Yeah,
and a little shorter shaft as well.
Yeah, and that was the thing that JJ kind of said, that he thought that, I generally don't do that well, or my particular swing flaws are exaggerated when I get a longer product in my hand, longer shaft in the hand. So we went up a little bit in weight and we went down a little bit in length. So 44.5, which is really short for me.
It is short.
And obviously we've added some head weight to get it back to my D3 preference. The current driver that was in the bag, or has been in the bag for a while, since one of the recent What's in the Bags, is the Stealth 2 Plus.
You do hit that good.
It's a driver I really like, I'll be honest. a TR Blue 6X. Weight in the toe, neutral loft setting.
That's a good setup.
It is. I really, really like it. But it does come in the longer 45.25. Yeah. Again, D3 in that one as well. So we're going to do a head-to-head. Now we've got it back here. Not saying that there was any bias to the fit or anything like that. But you're with the with the OEM fitters. You're with the tour reps, and there's obviously going to be a bias towards their own product. We get that, but when we are in an environment like this, I feel like we can sort of stand back, be completely objective, and isolate the variables, 100%. Which is what we're going to do right now.
Love it. Let's do it.
Let's start with the current gamer, Mikey. Let's get some baseliners. So that is exactly what I feel like a good one with this driver would look like, Mikey.
Yeah. Up the right side, comes back a little bit, a couple feet of draw.
It's good. It's 280 on the fly.
Better strike.
Yep. Yeah, no, I'd be
12 launch.
I'd be pretty happy with that.
2,000 to 2,200 spin is kind of where you hang out.
Yeah.
Good strike.
My favourite little groove low. Don't really have a choice about that one right now. I think it's a combination of the really flat lie angle with this, and obviously the weight and that toe.
Yeah.
Toe setting.
Sounded not bad, just low.
Yep.
Decent strike, just cooked on you a bit.
Just towed it a little bit.
Good swing.
Yeah, I mean, it lets you away with a lot. That was kind of heel banged.
Yeah, you got away with it. Nice thing with this, the Healy miss is not 2,900 spin. It's you know, sub 4, 24, which is nice. Yeah, it keeps you in play.
You know, I still to this day hear people talk about people don't think Stealth 2 is that great of a driver. One thing I would say, maybe it needs a bit of speed.
Yeah.
You know, it's maybe not, you know, the best driver out there if you're, you know, looking for something that's 70 miles an hour. Maybe there's better options out there. But I think at this speed, it competes with anything.
I think it's a good driver.
It doesn't get, you know, nothing blows it out the water, that's for sure. Pretty neutral, Mikey.
Yeah, very repeatable.
Pretty neutral. I mean,
you're hanging out in kind of the low toe strike today, but
yeah, I'd love to give you one in the middle of the head, just to try and like show at least what one of those looks like. Let me see if I can do that. I hate that I've not given you one good strike yet. That was the strike. Yeah. So I would probably say that's about, no, I'd say that's more than those swings deserved.
Yeah, I would agree, yeah.
It wasn't like a great selection of swings to sort of give you there. The challenge for this driver, Mikey, going through this test is that wasn't really a bad set from a sort of accuracy perspective.
No, and that's what this driver's built for a little bit. Like, you still hit it good distance-wise, but it's not a distance machine. This is find a fairway. Those stealths that you just hit, I mean, they all found a fairway.
Yes.
I think with this, though, you'll be able to play, like that's a one-trick pony stock shot. I feel like something that's a bit shorter, you may be able to cut one out there or hit a low one or try to play different shots.
Yeah. Well, let's see what we've got with it.
Swing. I'm assuming standing over the driver with something a bit shorter, standing more on top of it, just boosts confidence.
Yeah, it is quite good. Yeah.
So good.
See that strike's kind of just tightening in a little bit?
Yeah. Spin's really good. Ball speed is not massively different to your 45 and a quarter inch Stealth. It's kind of like your first one, you fell out of it, but it's not really a miss. Good swing. It looked like you could just stand on this tee all day and just hit drives like this.
There's a difference to the repeatability of it, isn't it?
Yeah. Like, it looks so easy. I mean, you even look at that strike point. I mean, yeah, okay, it's lower than maybe you would like, but
Yeah.
that is consistent as hell.
Feels like a mini driver.
Yeah, I mean, both are very good for you, but the consistency of this and how many times you've hit it and it's just doing the same thing. We've played a lot of golf together. If you're gonna go play today, I would put that in the bag all day long. Because you're not really sacrificing too much distance.
There's not much.
I'm sure you also maybe outside potentially have another gear. I mean, this is a tight hole. This is extremely tight. So
I'm really thinking about like a little tight draw here.
Yeah.
Trying not to stray. I'm very conscious of where the strike is, and like you say, like I know what it's going to take to hit a drive on the fairway of this, and it's not having a slash at it.
Yeah.
Because it's a 530-yard hole downhill that you're going to hit it 300 yards and leave yourself in a 5-iron.
Yeah.
4-iron, 6-iron.
It's really good. Very, very consistent.
Yeah.
That sounded better.
Yeah, it just doesn't move as much, this one. Sometimes I think with the other driver I was getting caught or drawn into aiming right for the shape. Like this one for sure, I don't hit it, I have to hit it over the tree line.
Yeah.
I can hit it inside the fairway, and I think the biggest thing is just because of the strike. It's so much more consistent. Okay, so from an observer standpoint, if you were in the bay right now and you had a client come in and said, I've got 2 drivers, I just want your expert opinion. I'm going to play one of them. Which one would you play? What would you put me in and why?
TSR4, I'd ask you, what is distance everything? You don't have many yards a difference. The same total, carries a little bit different, but nothing crazy. I'd put you in TSR4 because of the consistency of strike, because how repeatable it was. If I'm fitting someone, I always say, make a golf club autopilot.
Yeah.
I think TSR4 for you is, I mean, you hit Stealth 2 really good, but TSR4 was just the same swing, one after another.
If we look at the delivery, it was actually remarkable how similar the delivery ended up. We've kind of got a lot of shots in there, and we've ended up with exact same angle attack, exact same path, exact same face angle. The difference being dynamic lie angle being a little bit more up, and we'll talk to that in a second, and the strike being a little bit more in and up, and then obviously dynamic loft being being basically exactly the same. Efficiency exactly the same.
Yeah.
Obviously the slightly shorter one being a little bit, I would say obviously, it's not for everyone or people swing a shorter driver slower, but all else being equal, yes, you would.
100%.
You would, unless there was an issue why you were holding back with the long one. So it's remarkably similar in what it does. I totally agree with you that you would just, which one, if you had to hit a drive in the fairway with your life on the line, and everything else is equal, you're going to go with the Titleist.
Yeah.
Really
again, shorter, to be more on top of it, feel like you can kind of wail away at it and not go away on you.
Yeah.
TSR4 was super, super consistent.
Yeah. I'm going to kind of pick out 2 worst with both. What does it do? It doesn't really do much. It doesn't really change. I was thinking there might have been one in there with the Titleist that
still very same.
It's still very same. There's really not that much in it. But
I like both. But TSR4.
Yeah.
If I'm going to carry your bag again, I don't want to go in the bush. You're playing TSR4.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because that's the driver I think that most people say, oh, it's harder to hit. It's a low spin driver.
Right.
It's all these things, and in actual fact, it's launched a little bit higher with a little bit more spin. Now we've got the weights configured for that. I just love that window, 12 and 2365.
So good.
JJ, if someone at Titleist shows him, this video, I think he will definitely give me the thumbs up that, I want you in those launch conditions, those launch windows. Let's see over on the table what height we've got on average. Yeah, 99 and 94.
Yeah.
I mean, really, really quite good.
Yeah, it's impressive. I like the whole setup.
Yeah.
You're not sacrificing anything, which is nice.
No, that's exactly it. I mean, there's a bomb in there with both of them if you really want it, but I can at least have some peace of mind now that oh, you know, by using a short driver, am I giving up on a lot of distance? Am I giving up on a lot of club head speed? I'm really not.
Yeah.
I'm really not.
I get that question often. If I go shorter, am I sacrificing a lot? I mean, you're, what are you, almost 3/4 of an inch difference?
3/4 of an inch difference, yeah.
And you haven't sacrificed anything.
No, which is good to see. Guys, hopefully, I mean, there's a few different layers to this one. You know, I think there's a length conversation. There's definitely a sort of head size, and there's some things around weighting, and obviously how the heads are configured. We actually have both drivers today on standard, A1 setting and Titleist, and standard setting on the Taylormade. You know, effectively the Taylormade should play more upright because of the longer shaft, but it has a slightly flatter standard or a standard lie angle on it, 54 degrees. One of the things I see a little bit, and as we look at, I'm always looking dynamically, what is the player doing with the lie angle?
Yeah.
I'm definitely rotating through the shorter driver better, and I know that because the handle is more down and the toe is more up.
Yeah.
So there's about a 3.5 degree difference, and then statically there's a 2 degree difference. That tells me there's 1.5 degrees of me doing a better job with the handle on the way through.
Yeah, good point.
That's a plus. And one of the layers in 3D fitting that we look at is, you know, not just in 2D, what does the ball do from a launch speed and spin perspective? What is the player able to do in sort of motion, and how does their sort of the geometry of their swing evolve relative to the club they've got in their hands? And that's a big thing from a consistency standpoint, because we've got to know that once a player leaves the bay that they're going to perform at a high level. I always know my chances of the player performing at a high level if the club complements the golf swing. You know, so we've got to make that decision before we say, yep, this is the one we're going to hang our hat on. We think you should play this one.
Totally.
Definitely. Okay. Good, cool test. You know, and another sort of layer to this test will be get to the golf course.
Yeah.
I did hit the one that they built me, or the sort of demo driver. I did hit that at Crosby. It was very straight.
Yeah, it was good.
And there were some tight holes out there, and I hit a few that, you know, again, we were talking about earlier on, people saying like, oh, good drive, and I go, I got away with one there.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of missed that touch. So really, really good to see. I love that tight dispersion in the strike, Mikey.
So good. And I mean, even that blue dot's just a little bit higher, which is nice to see. I'm thinking you could almost name this video, is shorter drivers better, build a fairway finder, or Ian's new driver. I mean, it's
one of many.
It's one of many, yeah.
Looking over at that there, so if we look at the face impact, lateral and vertical strikes, I mean, we've got it down to a point where it's like 1 millimeter,
really
1 millimeter average in the toe, and the average being, you know, 6 millimeters low. So it's quite significantly better than the Taylormade in the strike consistency averages. So, and I think that's where you'd realise actually a much bigger gain on the golf course. One of those immeasurable things is, what does a player do from a confidence perspective when they feel like they're hitting the centre of the driver all the time? And that confidence grows and goes, you know, from strength to strength, to the point where you feel like you can kind of you could start swinging at it because you're just hitting the middle of the club all the time, and it's a huge thing. It's a great feeling to have.
Nothing better. First drive of the day, and it goes where you want it. I mean, you feel a million times better. Definitely,
you feel like you've got your swing under control that day. You know what the ball flight's going to do, and then you build on that, and as the round goes, the confidence just comes with you. So that's how I would feel having hit that series of drives there. I'd be feeling pretty good about the Titleist going on to, you know, play around and start getting maybe a little bit more aggressive with my second shots.
Definitely.
And start looking at narrowing in that proximity.
Love it. Good.
Okay, guys, a lot of layers, as we said, to uncover there. Hopefully, you know, there's a little bit of something in there for those of you who are maybe struggling with strike, or you're thinking about maybe a burner mini or one of these kind of mini drivers. It doesn't have to be, you know, a standard length driver versus a mini driver. It can be something in between, and I think that's what TSR4 we've ended up finding here is this is something in between. At 43.75 inches in the burner mini, you know, 45 and a quarter, which is what mine is at. You know, the 44 and a half is right in between those. Yeah. And I think that's why it's working really, really nicely, and it might do the exact same for you. So, you know, give it a try. Get out to see your kind of local fitters, whoever's round about you that has a good option in shafts and heads and You know, if that's ourselves, our club champion, whoever it is that's round about you, you've got to get fit for your product. You've got to have a professional stand there giving you the right advice as to what's going to work best for you and help lower those scores. That's the most important thing here. So stay tuned for more, and we'll see you again soon.